Well, it's been a while since the last video. Now I'm still working on new videos, it's just that these videos are taking a lot longer because I have a very busy schedule, so it really just depends on that. So until then, I'm just going to do a lot of little videos here and there just to keep this channel active. And what better thing to talk about is another one of my biggest passions, and that is music. And I think the perfect band we're going to talk about is my favorite band of all time, and that is Queen. Now I've been a fan of Queen for a long time now, and they're definitely the band that has totally opened my eyes to many types of music. When I was a kid, I didn't really listen to music that much. It just didn't interest me at all. But once I discovered Queen, then it totally opened the doors to many of the music that I currently listen to. So what we're going to do right now is that I'm going to rank all of their studio albums from my least favorite all the way to my absolute favorite. However, I will be excluding the Flash Gordon soundtrack because, like I just said, it's a soundtrack album. It's not really a studio album. There's really only 2 songs on this, and the rest are just instrumentals. So really, this is not really worth discussing. I mean, if you like the soundtrack, then good for you. But for this video, we're not really going to talk about it that much. So let's continue. And we're also not going to talk about the Queen plus Paul Rodgers album for 2 reasons. One, I don't own it. That's one thing. I need to own it in order to be part of the ranking. And 2, I don't consider it a Queen album. Now it does have Queen in the name, but I consider Queen plus Paul Rodgers a completely different entity. Kind of the same thing with Queen plus Adam Lambert. I consider them completely different bands. I'm only going to talk about albums that are strictly Queen albums. Queen only. No plus this, no plus that, just Queen, and that's it. Alright, so I have the albums over here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 albums to get through. So let's do it. So we're going to start off with number 14. Now, before I unveil my least favorite, let me just say I do not hate any Queen album. I actually like pretty much all of them, even the ones that we're going to talk about later that most people don't like. But each album, there's always something I enjoy from them for different reasons. But for this sake, we're still going to go least to greatest. So we're going to start with my least favorite, and that one's going to be Made in Heaven, released in 1995. Released about 4 years, roughly 4 years after Freddie Mercury's death. And this album mainly consists of unfinished tracks that Freddie recorded before he died. And it also includes songs that were actually featured in Freddie Mercury's solo stuff, which I actually own a greatest hits of his solo stuff. It's worth checking out if you're a Freddie Mercury fan. Just looking at the track listing here because some of the songs are on this album. So the band kind of reworked a lot of those songs and kind of put a little Queen stamp on them, which to me, they sound good to me. I really do like this album. The reason why it's this slow is because this is not really an album I listen to. I really go out and listen to. But when I do listen to it, I really do enjoy the songs. Like It's a Beautiful Day kind of sets the tone. Let Me Live is a great song. Has Freddie Mercury, Brian May, and Roger Taylor each sing a verse, which is really cool. Mother Love, which was actually the last song that Freddie Mercury ever recorded. Really haunting song. Kind of really haunting how that was his last song. And also fun fact, he didn't really get to finish it. He actually died before they could finish the last verse. Other songs I love, their version of I Was Born to Love You, again from his solo career. Too Much Love Will Kill You is a great song. But so yeah, solid album. But again, not really an album I go out and listen to that often. But again, when I do, it's usually a good listen. All right, so now we're gonna go to number 13, and we're gonna go with Hot Space. Now, for most Queen fans, a lot of you will probably rank this in last place, and I totally get it. They were totally cashing in on Another One Bites the Dust. They decided to go in this whole rock, funk, R&B sound, which a lot of people didn't think it worked out. But to me, I really do dig this album. I'm one of the few people that actually like this album. So I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we all have our opinions. So Staying Power, nice little opener. Of course, I prefer the live version. You can just go to YouTube and search it up. They do a really good job. Backchat, I love Backchat. I really do like the funk aspect of that song. Body Language, yeah, I can understand. It's not one of my favorites either. Life is Real is a good song. Las Palabras de Amor, really good song. Nice, I really do like. So yeah, a lot of these songs I love. But what ranks this higher than Made in Heaven is that it includes probably one of my favorite Queen songs, Under Pressure, featuring David Bowie. And to me, that's pretty much why this album is above Made in Heaven. Alright, number 12, we're gonna go with The Miracle. Now I will admit, the first two songs I'm not actually a huge fan of. Not really my favorite opening to a Queen album. However, the songs that I really do like on this album, I really like. The Miracle is a good song. I Want It All, probably in my top 10 favorite Queen songs. Invisible Man, love the bass work in that song. Breakthrough's a nice little number. Scandal, Was It All Worth It? So yeah, solid album, really good album. The songs that are really good are really shine on this album, and I really do listen to this album quite a bit. Of course, I do skip the first two, but other than that, the rest of the album is really good, and really recommend it. Okay, you probably noticed that a lot of the albums on the bottom are from the 80s. Again, nothing against the 80s, but I do prefer the 70s era of the band. So let's continue with number, let me check. So we're at number 11. We're gonna go with probably, this might shock some of you, we're gonna go with The Works next. Now some of you might be shocked because this album does contain a lot of classics like Radio Gaga, I Want to Break Free, It's a Hard Life, like Hammer to Fall, like really well-known tracks. I love Radio Gaga. I love I Want to Break Free, especially with this video. But I don't know. I don't really seek this album out that often. Like if I want to listen to Radio Gaga, I just listen to it by itself. I never really feel like I want to listen to the whole album from beginning to end. I just want to listen to like individual songs. So that's kind of why it's rated kind of low. But again, there's some great songs off this, and some of them are even classics. Alright, so we're in the top 10. So coming in at number 10, we're gonna go with A Kind of Magic. So this album kind of counts as both a studio and a soundtrack album because a lot of the songs were featured in the movie Highlander, which is a really good movie, pretty entertaining. So it starts off with One Vision, really good opening, has the title track, nice. 1 Year Love, really underrated song. Yeah, it's a sappy love ballad, but hey, it has a sax solo in it. You know that's gonna pull me in. So anyway, Who Wants to Live Forever, really emotional song, really beautiful song. And of course has Princess of the Universe, the title track for the movie Highlander, and really good song. Another one of probably my top 10, really great song. And so to me, that's why it's ranked a little bit higher than what most people are gonna rank this in. Alright, number 9. So this is the last album of the 80s, and that album is gonna be The Game, 1980. So this is the first album of the 1980, and this is kind of the band transitioning into the new decade. So it starts with Play the Game, nice opening. Then it goes to Dragon Attack, which has killer bass and guitar work in the song, and then it follows up with Another One Bites Dust. I mean, what can you say about that? Crazy Little Thing Called Love, another classic, another big hit, and Save Me. Beautiful song to finish the album. And also has a nice little underrated song in my opinion, Sail Away Sweet Sister, sung by Brian May. Really good song. Other than that, really, I love this album. I really do love this album. I do go to this album quite a bit. So definitely worth checking out. Alright, so we're finally into the 70s stuff. Now this is where it definitely got a little bit harder to rank these because I do love all of these albums. So without further ado, let's keep going. So coming in at number, let me check one more time. So that's 14, 13, 12. So number 8. This might be controversial, but next I'm gonna go with Sheer Heart Attack, their 3rd studio album. Now some of you might be shocked because this is my least favorite of the 70s era, but let me just say, I still love this album. I mean, it starts with Bright Rock, great opener, Killer Queen classic, In the Lap of the Gods, and In the Lap of the Gods Revisited as well. Stone Cold Crazy, killer song. But the reason why it's ranked kind of low is because this one took a while for me to get into. Like, I knew Killer Queen, that was like the only song I knew off it, but it took a while for me to really listen from start to finish. And again, of the 70s, this is one I don't go to that often, but again, not taking anything away. It's still a great album, definitely worth checking out, and definitely, especially if you're a Queen fan, definitely a must-have in your collection. So again, least favorite of the 70s, but again, still a great album. Alright, number 7. Next, News of the World. Of course, with that iconic album cover. Of course, if you watch Family Guy, then you'll never forget this album again. Now this album's a little bit higher than Sheer Heart Attack because it does contain a lot of songs that I personally have connected with. I mean, okay, right off the bat, it starts off with the killer duo, We Will Rock You When We Are the Champions, and All Dead, really emotional song. If you look up what the song's about, then this is really, really touching song. Spread Your Wings, another underrated song, another one of my top 10 favorites. Fight From the Inside, nice song sung by Roger Taylor. So yeah, I mean, really strong album here. Like some of these songs I've related to. I just have that connection with a lot of the songs, so I really do love News of the World. So go check it out if you haven't. Number 6, jazz. Of course, ironically, there's not really that much jazz on this. It's still a rock album. I think a lot of Queen fans have agreed that this is definitely one of the most underrated of the 70s era. Of course, has some big hits: Fat Bottom Girls, Bicycle Race, and of course Don't Stop Me Now, all classics. But I really love all the other songs as well. Jealousy, If You Can't Beat Them, In Only 7 Days, Let Me Entertain You, Leaving Home Ain't Easy. It's just a great album. I've listened to this album a lot, and it's definitely worth checking out. Really underrated album. Okay, number 5, we've got A Day at the Races. Now, a lot of fans have said this is kind of the sequel to A Night at the Opera, and while it doesn't really exceed that level of legendary as that album, that I will say that this is definitely a good album still. Really nice follow-up to A Night at the Opera. I mean, has, again, great songs. Probably my favorite of this album is the Millionaire Waltz. But if you haven't heard that song, go listen to it. I mean, there's just like, it just starts off with like a ballroom dance feel. Like, it has great, like, I mean, the bass and guitar work is amazing. It's just an amazing song. It just go check it out. It's really good. And of course, has Somebody to Love on it, another classic. Tie Your Mother Down, Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy, You and I. But so again, I can't stress enough, just great stuff from this era. I mean, the 70s to me has some of the greatest music. So, I mean, just go check this out. Alright, number 4. We're gonna go with the self-titled debut. This was released in 1973. And let me just get this out of the way. I just love this album cover. I just love the purple and like the little picture of Freddie down there. Just really good. And this is just an awesome way to start, an awesome album to start off with. I mean, it starts off with Keep Yourself Alive, just one of the best introductions to a band, in my opinion. Doing Alright, I love it. Breaking Rats, Liar, great song. Well, that's another one of my top 10s. Son and Daughter, so I mean, just a killer first album. I love it. I've listened to this plenty of times. I'm still not sick of it, so go check this out. Especially if you want to see where Queen started out, and then you'll soon see where they would become later on down the line. Alright, so we are at the final 3. So this was definitely the hardest part, because to me, these next 3 albums, they could interchange at any moment. Any one of these 3 could be my number 1. But I'm just gonna go what I'm feeling right now. Again, these could change at any time, but I think I'm pretty happy with what I have right now. So, coming in at number 3, we have Innuendo. Now this is from 1991, so it's definitely like a later part. This is actually the last album to be released before Freddie Mercury's death, and to me, this is like, what a way to go out on. Yeah, Made in Heaven is technically the last album, but I think a lot of fans have agreed that this is a more fitting end to the band's career. Starts off with the title track, just love it. I'm Going Slightly Mad. Pretty much the first 6 songs I love. I love all 6 of those. These Are the Days of Our Lives, really beautiful song. Delilah, a lot of fans don't like Delilah, but if you've owned cats, then you'll relate to it. But the reason why it's ranked so high, the main reason why it's ranked so high, is because it contains probably my number 1 favorite Queen song of all time, and that is The Show Must Go On. To me, that's one of Freddie Mercury's greatest vocal performances. I mean, it's emotional, it's like motivational, it's inspirational. I just love that song. Again, one of my favorite songs by the band, and what a great album as well. I mean, if you haven't, just go check it out. It's really good. Number 2, we're gonna go with Queen 2. How ironic is that? Number 2, Queen 2. I'm gonna stop. Anyway, so Queen 2, just from beginning to end, this is an amazing album. I mean, it starts with Procession, then goes right into Father to Son, and White Queen, Ogre Battle, I mean, Fairly Feller's Master Stroke, I mean, The March of the Black Queen. Probably either 2 or 3 in my favorite Queen songs. Just really good. I mean, this is definitely an album you have to listen from the beginning to end. Like, you can't really skip. You can't really pick out certain songs. Like, you have to listen to this album from beginning to end. That's just how that's how you're gonna get the best experience from all these songs. So, Queen 2, just go check it out. And plus, it's probably the most iconic album covers ever. I mean, whenever you think of Queen, I mean, this is probably your first image that you think of. I mean, what can you say about this? I mean, definitely one of my favorite album covers of all time. That's actually a good idea. I should do a top 10 of my favorite album covers, so I'll keep that in mind. But enough of that. It's finally time to go to my number 1. My current number 1 favorite album by Queen. And you probably already know because I haven't mentioned it yet, but you are right. Number 1. It's Night of the Opera. Call Me Unoriginal. I mean, I can't help it. I mean, it's just a classic album. I mean, there's just so many good songs. Death on Two Legs, I'm in Love with My Car, You're My Best Friend, 39, Prophet Song, Love of My Life. Beautiful song. Just a beautiful song. I love that song. But, I mean, of course, I can't ignore the fact that this song contains Bohemian Rhapsody, probably the most iconic rock songs of all time. I mean, what can you say about Bohemian Rhapsody? I mean, Is it overplayed? Possibly, but to me, I'm not sick of it yet. I still love Bohemian Rhapsody. Just so good. This is probably the quintessential album to get if you want to get into Queen. Definitely definitely probably the best starter album if you want to get into them. Just this album pretty much describes who they were. Just so diverse. You can't pinpoint Queen to any specific genre because they've done so many types. I mean, they've done rock, they do hard rock, they've done metal at some points, progressive rock, opera. I mean, the list goes on, like R&B, funk, just so much. You just can't pinpoint Queen to one genre alone. And this album kind of is the prime example of that, just how diverse they were. So that's kind of why this has to be number one. And that's it. We've gone through all 14 albums. So make sure you leave a comment down below how you would rank these albums, and also why you would rank them in their specific place. Why is this number one? Why is this number one? Why is it number 14? So I don't know when I'll do more of these. Like, I probably won't be ranking albums for a while because if I'm going to be honest with you, I do have a big CD collection, but if I'm going to be honest, I only have the full discographies of 2 bands. That's Queen and The Police. So if you want to see me rank all 5 Police albums, hey, leave a comment down below too if you want to see that. So I guess that's it. If you enjoy this, then please leave a like, make sure you subscribe. Also leave comments down below how you rank these albums, and also suggest other things I should talk about. It doesn't have to be music, could be movies, could be like just anything you want me to talk about, and I'll see if I can get back to it. So that's it for now. I'll see you in the next video. I'll see you then. Goodbye.